Okay, good afternoon. My name is David Barr. I'm a strategic HR advisor to companies in the city. And this afternoon I'm going to talk briefly about why performance management systems and their link to bonus and pay are bad for business, which is a pretty controversial title in its own right. So the snippets that you'll see on the video are accompanied by an associated paper. So the issues of belief around performance management is that to get people to perform and to be interested in what they do is that we have to dangle a carrot, and therefore we need to push people and we need to incentivize them to perform the job that they're meant to be doing. And so one of the things we do is we link performance management through to pay and bonus in the belief that it actually improves profitability and performance of our companies. So the basic paradigm is that there's a need to incentivize people to perform at their best. And it assumes that people hold back on their performance unless the carrot of reward is offered. And this is underpinned by a belief that financial reward is the number one motivator, and of course research supports none of that. So if you look at the research over a long period of time, then a lot of people come to work because they want to have interesting work, they get involved in key decisions, they get feedback around their performance, they get a chance to learn and develop and grow, and they get some recognition and respect for what they do. And you typically find that pay and reward comes fifth or sixth on the list. So fundamentally, some of the issues of belief and the way that we push people through performance management are unfounded when you look at the research. So there have been a number of studies in America over a number of years looking at companies that are focused on the system versus individual. And the outcome of that is that significant differences in share price. So share prices for those who focus in on the system have gone up 114% versus those who have not have only gone up 80%. So what that's saying is that if you try and focus in on the individual to improve your processes and to improve your profitability and your customer impact, you're less likely to be successful. So the other notion in here is that the vast majority of people do come to work to do a good job. And their performance is typically hampered by poor management, systemic issues, poor policy and practice, inappropriate targeting, lack of training, and objectives over which they've no control, and a lack of understanding of where their role fits into the company. So if we move on to the next topic, which is about the overarching process of performance management itself, I think the vast majority of people that you talk to find performance management processes pretty demotivating. And the reason that they do find it that way is because typically they get a rating and ranking. There's a whole lot of comparison that goes on, and also most companies force the distribution of these ratings and rankings because they have a budget to distribute. If you were to ask a group of people, are they average performers? Of course they would say no. Most people would say that they're above average performers, but we force through forced distribution, we force everybody to the middle. And one of the consequences of that is that people generally feel pretty demotivated by the outcome. It also means that the conversations that are had between individuals and managers are typically around the rating and ranking and their pay, rather than a focus on customers and improving the process. What we want to do is to ensure that people believe that they're being paid a fair wage for the job they do, and in doing that, focus them in on improving the end-to-end delivery to the customer, rather than focusing in on getting a rating or a ranking or a particular amount of money at the end of the year. Clearly money is important to people, so one of the things we need to make sure of is that in the market people are paid appropriately for that. And that there's all sorts of mechanisms where we can ensure that there's a market fairness. Also, if you've been in the organisation, you've been learning and growing, then why wouldn't we give you an incremental increase on that, just to make sure that we recognise that you are more capable than you were the year before. So those are some ways that we could start to dismantle the current process. When it comes to bonuses, there are already companies out there that deliver bonuses in a very different way. And again, a lot of companies try to give rating and ranking and apportion bonus in a particular way. But a number of companies now are saying, no, if we've had a collective effort within the company and we've made more money, then why wouldn't we share that equitably between the staff? And therefore, if we've made enough money to pay a 10% bonus, then the chief executive gets 10%, and also the administrators or junior members of the staff get exactly the same, and there's some more equality around that. So the basic premise on all of this is that performance management in its current guise is broken as a process. The underlying belief set that we have around performance management are not well founded. To try and target individuals to try and improve the performance of a company is futile, and we need to start to focus in on the systemic issues that we have in delivering to the end customer. The vast majority of people come to work to do a good job. It's extraordinarily difficult for managers or anybody to take a properly well-founded view around performance, because there are all sorts of other dynamics at play here that mean that people's performance is limited by a whole range of things that are not necessarily personal to them and they don't have any influence over. And we have a massive industry around performance management that basically means that for the vast majority of staff it's a pretty demotivating process. And the unintended consequences for many businesses are that there is a focus on whatever the targets or performance measures are set to the detriment of their consumers, and we've seen that significantly in financial services over the last 10 to 20 years. And therefore we need to fundamentally rethink the model and go back to where it all started, which is pay people fairly in the market, have a team effort around how we actually deliver to the end customer, don't make it short term, and make sure that when we are making payments out on bonuses that it's an equitable system.